In the United States, a life is cut short by cardiovascular disease every 34 seconds. That is the current tragic statistic from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. It is a warning that should freeze you in your chair. This is not a statistic about an inevitable disease. This is a statistic about slow, silent murder happening every single day on your dinner plate. You think you are eating safely. You believe you're making rational, heart-healthy choices. But hidden deep inside your grocery cart, often labeled as low-fat or natural, are three nutritional assassins, three silent heart killers you consume daily. They are the architects of chronic inflammation, the insidious builders of arterial plaque, and the primary rigidifiers of your blood vessels. They are working in tandem to diminish your longevity and your independence. This video is not just another random list of heart-healthy foods you already know. This is an urgent call to action rooted in the latest science. We are going to unmask the three hidden enemies that are actively attacking your heart and your brain right now. And more importantly, I will reveal the American Heart Association's 7-point Antidote Protocol. These 7 foods are science-backed weapons designed to directly neutralize those three silent killers, reversing the damage at a cellular level. This is your definitive blueprint for taking back absolute control of your cardiovascular health. Your resilience, your longevity, and your freedom start with the next meal you prepare. Stay with me. The next 10 minutes could fundamentally change your next 10 years by giving you the knowledge to fight back. Unmasking the three heart killers. Let's begin by identifying the assassins hiding in plain sight. These three killers are responsible for the vast majority of preventable heart disease in North America. They don't strike quickly. They apply constant, grinding pressure until the system fails. Killer number 1. Hidden sodium. Sodium is an essential electrolyte, but in the modern processed American diet, it is transformed into a weapon of mass arterial destruction. The American Heart Association sets the optimal goal for sodium intake at less than 1,500 milligrams per day for most adults, especially those at risk for high blood pressure. Yet, the average American consumes well over 3,400 milligrams, more than double the ideal target. The danger of excess sodium isn't just about feeling bloated or thirsty. Chronic high-sodium consumption fundamentally overactivates the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, or RAAS. This is the hormonal system that regulates your blood volume and pressure. When sodium intake is excessive, the RAAS is constantly triggered, demanding your kidneys retain more water and increasing the systemic vascular resistance. This persistent flood of volume forces your heart muscle into a state of hypertrophy. It grows thicker and less efficient because it must pump against immense resistance. This systemic strain leads directly to chronic arterial stiffness. Your arteries, which must remain flexible and elastic to manage blood flow, become rigid, accelerating your cardiovascular age. But the threat goes deeper according to new 2025 research from leading cardiology and neurology journals. The rigidification of blood vessels in the brain, driven by sodium, is now strongly linked to an increased risk of vascular dementia and severe cognitive decline in older adults. High blood pressure doesn't just attack your heart, it attacks your long-term mental clarity. The danger zones are not the salt shaker on your table. They are the processed foods disguised as healthy: store-bought bread, canned broths, frozen chicken nuggets, deli meats, and even pre-made salad dressings and condiments. These are the insidious sources of hidden heart killers, quietly sabotaging your cardiovascular future. Killer number 2. Added sugar. For over 40 years, we mistakenly focused our fear entirely on dietary fat, but the true villain fueling the chronic disease epidemic is added sugar. I am not talking about the natural sugar in an apple or a carrot. I am talking about the processed, chemically isolated sugars, especially high fructose corn syrup and sucrose. Sugar is the undisputed chief engineer of chronic inflammation. Think of inflammation as a slow-burning, low-grade fire inside your cardiovascular system. When you consume excessive sugar, particularly fructose and glucose, it triggers a destructive chemical process called glycation. This process involves sugar molecules binding non-enzymatically to proteins and fats in your bloodstream. This creates toxic compounds known as advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. AGEs are cellular debris that inflict deep, structural damage on the delicate inner lining of your arteries, the endothelium. Once the endothelium is injured, it sends out distress signals that create the perfect sticky landing pad for cholesterol plaque to adhere to and build up. The plaque itself is a response to this damage. Simply put, plaque cannot form efficiently without the initial inflammatory trigger, and sugar is the primary fuel for that fire by creating the AGEs. The most dangerous sources are not just sodas and candy, but low-fat yogurt, many granola bars, packaged sauces, sports drinks, and refined breakfast cereals where sugar is hidden to compensate for the flavor lost from removed fat. This killer is the silent partner to fat, preparing the groundwork for plaque to take hold and dramatically accelerating insulin resistance, further straining your metabolic and cardiovascular health. Killer number 3. Excess saturated and trans fats. These are the construction materials of bad cholesterol and the final piece of the deadly puzzle. When consumed in excess, saturated fats, particularly those rich in palmitic acid, C16.0, found heavily in processed meats and tropical oils, raise your low-density lipoprotein, or LDL. LDL is the core sticky component of the plaque that builds up and narrows your arteries, a process that causes atherosclerosis, the primary driver of heart attacks and strokes. The American Heart Association strongly recommends limiting saturated fats to less than 6% of your total daily calories. But we must differentiate. Not all saturated fats are equally harmful. Stearic acid, a saturated fat found naturally in dark chocolate and certain lean cuts of beef, has a neutral effect on cholesterol, unlike the palmitic acid in palm or coconut oil. However, the most toxic fat is trans fat, often listed on ingredient labels as partially hydrogenated oils. Trans fats are synthetic and carry no biological benefit for your body. They are a literal double whammy. They not only sharply raise LDL cholesterol, but simultaneously lower your protective HDL cholesterol and aggressively increase systemic inflammation, making them the worst form of synthetic plaque builder. The AHA's guidance is clear: eliminate trans fats entirely and replace high-saturated, solid, tropical oils with non-tropical liquid plant oils. The mistake is consuming these bad building blocks daily, allowing the three killers to work in tandem. Sodium stiffens the vessel through ARAAS activation, sugar burns the lining through AGEs, and saturated fat provides the sticky plaque material, ensuring guaranteed cardiovascular decline. The 7-point Antidote Protocol. Now that we fully understand the enemy, let's equip you with the heart-saving antidotes. These 7 foods, endorsed by the American Heart Association and major cardiologists, are not random. They are a precision-guided protocol designed to directly counter the mechanisms of the 3 heart killers at their core. Antidote 1 and 2. Fatty fish and nuts. These 2 antidotes are your premium good building materials, designed to actively repair cell membranes and resolve inflammation. We are talking about fatty fish, specifically salmon, mackerel, and trout. Their superpower is omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA. These specialized fats integrate into your cellular membranes, enhancing their fluidity and function. Crucially, the body converts omega-3s into powerful anti-inflammatory molecules called resolvins and protectins. These compounds actively resolve the chronic inflammatory process started by sugar, acting as the fire extinguisher to the sugar-fed fire. They also help stabilize the heart's electrical rhythm, reducing the risk of sudden cardiac events. The AHA recommends 2 servings of fatty fish per week. But what if you don't eat fish, or you seek diversity? That brings us to the second antidote: nuts and seeds. Walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds are rich in plant-based omega-3, ALA, heart-healthy monounsaturated fats, and vital magnesium. Magnesium is a critical electrolyte and natural calcium channel blocker that plays a crucial role in regulating your heart rhythm, relaxing vascular smooth muscle, and managing stress, acting as a natural antiarrhythmic agent. Furthermore, nuts contain L-arginine, an amino acid precursor that helps your body produce its own nitric oxide, supporting the opening of blood vessels and countering high blood pressure. Antidote 3 and 4. Leafy greens and legumes. These foods form your powerful sodium detox shield. They directly combat killer number 1, hidden sodium, and its effects on blood pressure. Leafy greens like spinach, kale, Swiss chard, and arugula contain a sophisticated dual mechanism for heart defense. First, they are packed with potassium. Potassium is sodium's natural adversary, actively signaling your kidneys to excrete excess sodium, which immediately lowers your overall blood volume and pressure. Second, leafy greens are uniquely rich in natural dietary nitrates. When you chew them, oral bacteria convert these nitrates into nitrites, which your body then rapidly converts into nitric oxide, or NO. Nitric oxide is a powerful signaling molecule that causes vasodilation. It tells your blood vessels to relax, widen, and become supple. This relaxation directly and forcefully counters the arterial stiffness caused by high sodium intake and RS overactivation. It is a low-cost, natural way to manage hypertension, often improving blood pressure within hours of consumption. The next antidote is legumes and lentils. These are your superior plant protein replacements, a foundational pillar of the heart-healthy DASH and Mediterranean diets. They are loaded with both soluble and insoluble fiber, helping to manage blood sugar, countering killer 2, and lower cholesterol, countering killer 3. Crucially, they are rich in folate, vitamin B9. Folate is essential for regulating and breaking down homocysteine, an amino acid that, when elevated, is a dangerous independent risk factor for arterial damage and heart disease. By replacing inflammatory red meat with nutrient-dense beans or lentils, you automatically reduce saturated fat intake and boost your folate and fiber, delivering a powerful 1-2 punch against multiple heart killers. Antidote 5, 6, and 7. Berries, olive oil, and oats. These are your final weapons, combining inflammation fighters and cholesterol sponges. Antidote 5 is berries: blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries. Their intense, rich color comes from anthocyanins, a type of flavonoid. Anthocyanins are formidable antioxidants that quench the inflammatory fire burning your endothelium by strengthening the cell walls. They achieve this by enhancing the activity of the enzyme eNOS, endothelial nitric oxide synthase, further boosting the protective nitric oxide production within the artery walls. Studies show that consistent berry consumption can significantly improve the function of your blood vessel lining, actively reversing some of the long-term damage caused by sugar-induced ages. Antidote 6 is extra virgin olive oil, or EVOO. This is the liquid gold of the Mediterranean diet and your best, most critical replacement for killer 3 fats. EVO is primarily composed of monounsaturated fats, particularly oleic acid. This healthy fat actively lowers LDL cholesterol while crucially preserving your protective HDL cholesterol. It is absolutely crucial to use EVO to replace tropical oils, butter, and lard in your daily cooking. High-quality EVO also contains a powerful anti-inflammatory compound called oleocanthal, which has been shown to mimic the effects of ibuprofen in the body, providing a potent daily defense against inflammation. Finally, Antidote 7. Oats and whole grains. These are your cholesterol sponges and blood sugar regulators. Whole grains like oats, barley, and quinoa contain high amounts of soluble fiber, specifically beta-glucan. When you eat cooked oatmeal, beta-glucan turns into a viscous gel in your digestive tract. This gel acts literally like a sponge, physically binding to the bile acids and the LDL cholesterol secreted by the liver and escorting it out of your body via the digestive system before it can enter the bloodstream and build plaque. This mechanism directly counters the damage from saturated fat. A simple bowl of steel-cut or rolled oats in the morning is one of the most affordable and effective heart-healthy foods you can consume to directly counter saturated fat intake and maintain stable blood sugar levels. These 7 foods are not a trend. They are the scientifically verified Antidote Protocol recommended by the American Heart Association to counter the 3 killers that are actively working against your longevity. The power to protect your heart doesn't lie in a pharmacy. It lies in the informed, strategic choice you make at the grocery store. Conclusion and action. Flywheel. You now understand the immediate daily threat. Sodium stiffens your arteries, increasing cardiac strain and dementia risk. Sugar sets the inflammatory fire, damaging the endothelium. Saturated fat provides the deadly construction material for plaque. And you have the cure, the 7-point AHA Antidote Protocol, designed to attack each mechanism of destruction with biological precision. The moment for action is not tomorrow or next week. The shift begins right now. In the next 72 hours, when you next visit the grocery store, commit to a decisive swap. Commit to removing at least one of the 3 heart killers from your kitchen, whether it's the canned soup, the high-sugar cereal, or the coconut oil, and replacing it with 2 of the heart-healthy antidote foods. Do not let this critical knowledge become passive information. Turn it into active, life-saving prevention. Now, I want to hear from you, the informed audience. After understanding these 3 killers, what is the one hidden food in your pantry that you are committed to throwing out today? Share your commitment in the comments below. Your heart health journey is a series of informed decisions, but knowing the cure is only half the battle. The deadliest heart killer is often disguised as a healthy choice, particularly killer number 1, sodium. Next, you need to spot the most dangerous disguises of all. Click the link right here at the end of this video where I reveal the 5 low-sodium foods a cardiac doctor warns you to stop buying immediately because they are secretly sabotaging your blood pressure goals. Don't wait. Your next shopping trip must be an informed one, and this next video will ensure you win the war against hidden sodium. I am Dr. Ilara Reed, and I am here to help you live a stronger, longer life, free from the threats we've exposed today. Disclaimer: this information is for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. Always consult with your physician or a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, medication, or lifestyle regimen.